The only reason people aren't punching me in the face is because my braces will cut them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be getting hit all the time for my bright green and red color. It's Christmas, you guys!
In the wild, if this was on a frog, it would say, "Stay away from me. I'm not food."
So that's like, that was, yeah. It's all starting to make more sense to me why growing up was a little bit more difficult than I realized. Why did people not like me? Oh, maybe it was my propensity to run around and push people and try to give them hugs randomly from behind at recess. I can realize that now in the wave of Me Too, man. They would have Me Too'd my ass on the playground.
I did a Me Too when I was 5.
Oh, did you?
I was in like preschool with Shannon Woodcock.
Oh, name drop.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
definitely. I wonder if she remembers this, but
She's not a friend of the pods, I'm sure.
she's not a friend of life at this point.
I got a feeling she doesn't listen. So, yeah, go on and tell
Something
the story.
tells me it's safe to talk about the time when we were 5 and I like just jumped on her and tried to kiss her in preschool. We were in like sharing. I did it in front of everyone. I was a real Weinstein when I was 5.
You're
let me tell you.
smitten. I want what I want, and I shall use my means
I
to get
take what's mine.
Awful.
Yeah, no, I was
not great.
I was overcome, and I just like wanted to kiss her on the cheek, and I jumped across the group and was like, "Mwah!" And that's why I
she
have issues
cried.
with women now because they're like, "That's a bad thing to do. You don't do that to girls."
Yeah.
And just cut to me just like loading a rifle, staring into space, sitting on the toilet. It's a Full Metal Jacket reference for you guys.
Yeah. That was, yeah. Shoots himself with a gun.
Good God, pile.
Vince D'Onofrio. Not my favorite actor.
Not really. Good in
Not
that.
really. Yeah. That's always crazy. Yeah, it's just, you look at the dynamic now. It's like, we were talking about Louis C.K. on last episode.
And I cut all of that out of that last episode.
Oh, you did? That's
Yeah.
probably for the best.
Yes.
Yeah. We went too far. But it was funny because I was thinking about that because I know someone that happened that happened to in college. But they weren't asked. Like, they were just with somebody and they were making out, and the dude was just like, you know what I think about when you're not around? And just started, just pulled it out and went to town. And I was like, holy shit, this happened? Like, this is what confuses me. Like, where's the disconnect in people's minds where they're like, this is a good idea.
This is going to impress her.
This is what I want. You know what I mean? But even like looking at Louis C.K. where he's like got that fetish. Like, I want to know where that came from because like that's a childhood thing. Like one day something like you're walking by and you're Quentin Tarantino and like a beautiful woman comes by with her feet and like something snaps in his head and now he's like putting Uma Thurman's feet in shots so that he can have them forever in his little masturbation vault back
He's
at
just
home.
sucking on a mannequin foot.
Well, I want to know what those things are. Like where it like what makes you be like, you know what's a good idea is I'm going to masturbate in front of this woman. Like, thank God I never saw that on the New York subways, but people do that shit.
Oh, it's happened. I mean, as far as like how kinks and fetishes develop, there's debate. There's like the Freudian
genetic.
school, which is like, well, you see, your mother had a big fat ass and you would see it a lot as a child. So now that's why you fuck big fat bitches. It's as simple as that. And then other people are
Science.
like, we literally do not know. It is as random as you know, developing certain diseases. Like what,
Weird
you know,
nurture. Yeah.
So, like, no one knows. Jury's still out on, like, why do people have the kinks they have. You do have a responsibility to exercise it with caution. So the difference between Louis C.K. and this guy that you're talking about is Louis C.K. asked if he could indulge a fetish. This other dude...
I don't think people knew he was going to either until he did it, and that's where the trouble came.
Well, this other dude might as well have just, like, pulled his pants down and smacked his ass red like a baboon and be like what you see?
Yeah.
Would you mate with me? Would you mate with this?
Ah! Just
You wouldn't. He just shits in his hand and throws it at her. You don't reject me, you bitch. I reject you.
and that's their thing.
And that's...
Oh, thank you. You were great.
But it doesn't sound like a kink to him because it sounds like he was just trying to, like, impress her.
Well, I'm not sure if it was like immense sexual frustration or...
I think all the
It's hard
blood
to
from
say.
his brain went to his fucking boner and he just didn't think that one through. Because think about what he said, too. You know what I think about when you're not around? I'm like, you think about your own cock? Because you literally said, know what I think about when you're
I'm not even
around.
sure if that
and
was
then
it verbatim,
pulled
but it
your
was
dong
like
out.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
But it was basically more or less like the I'm gonna say something to you. I don't know if there was ever a thing that he was gonna say that was gonna make it okay.
No, there's nothing that was gonna. Yeah.
How about making $20,000 the easiest way you ever have? Zip. And then he just starts masturbating in front of you. I don't know. I'd let a dude masturbate in front of me for $20,000 if that was his thing. What's your price?
A lot lower than $20,000, Rory. I'll tell you that.
I'm just hoping, like, if they also the other question is, if they offer something high, does that mean like that's their, like, is there room to negotiate for more, or should like you just take what you get so you don't offend the person who's about to masturbate in front of you? It could also be a gal, you know.
I should be so lucky. A woman's like, "Can I masturbate in front of you for money?" And I'm like, I don't know.
Perhaps we should negotiate.
Yeah, right.
So I guess it has to be a dude.
Yeah, no. If some disgusting, sweaty, fat hog of a trucker is like, "Hey, I jerk off in front of you, I'll pay you."
How much?
Yep. I'll be like,
note.
It's got to be more than Burger King coupons, buddy.
Yeah, it's got to be enough to wash away the memory of watching you do what you're about to do.
Yeah.
And also, you got to aim to the left because I'm not getting any projectiles on me.
Yeah, and like the thing is, like, I've seen dudes masturbating in the wild on the train. Once in Boston and once in New York.
Once.
Oh yeah, I've seen train jerkers.
I saw heroin all over the place, but I didn't see the masturbation.
I saw the fattest heroin nod of my life in Boston. Just this massively obese dude strung the fuck out, just tipped over on the train. He just starts crushing this tiny Korean woman, and she's just like, "Oh no, I left my homeland because of this."
I've seen some crazy, crazy shit. I did see, I think the most strung out person I've ever seen was in Boston, which is weird because you'd think it would have been New York.
Yeah.
Like you really would have thought. I'd say the most unhinged people were New Yorkers 9 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
But the most heroin strung out dude I was on the Red Line coming into Park Street Station, which is overlooking that huge, wonderful park that's sort of by like the government buildings.
Yeah.
In a really nice part of town, really, that leads to the downtown area. And there's this guy, and he is asleep all the way across. And like I'm standing, I didn't even notice him because I'm looking the other way, and I turn over because somebody like wanted to sit down or something, and somebody realized like he's not getting up because he is strung the fuck out, and his eyes are just a little bit open, so he's like so fucked up that his body's not functioning properly. And someone's like, hey man, are you okay? And they held the train. Somebody got off to go get an employee or like a police officer because they like think that this guy needs like a shot of Narcan.
This is an OD, yeah.
And somebody comes over to him and like starts, like a fellow doesn't want to help, like wants to make sure this guy doesn't get fucking arrested right now, and like gives him a couple of hits, like is the only guy willing to touch him, and gives him a couple smacks and goes, hey man, you got to get up right now. And the guy kind of like shakes to fucking life, like he was just taking a sudden breath, like and he's up, and he like kind of like doesn't know where he is, and like stands up really quick, but obviously he's like still like, so he kind of grabs and balances himself and goes, hey man, the cops, they're on the way right now. And he stumbles the fuck off the train and just wanders into the crowd.
Yep.
Like fucking heroin Batman. Just where did he go? He melded in there to make that story sound funny in some way.
It's not the heroin we need, but the heroin we deserve.
I was like, it was that or the guy in New York who peed up himself, but I didn't touch that one.
No,
I did not. I didn't watch. You know, nobody tried to help heroin man who peed up himself.
No,
there was no. He knew after a while and stood up. And you just saw this trail of pee down his entire body and down his leg. And he looked at everyone, and then he picked another spot that was drier and lied back down again.
I would have laughed if he was like, goodness, I appear to have urinated up my own chest once again.
I don't think that guy was going to say anything. But we all made eye. He saw all of us, and we saw all of him.
At that point, it is what it is. You know what?
It was just such an amazing amount of pee.
Yep.
It was an incredible amount of pee. It was enough that was like when you take a bucket at the end of a game and you pour it over your coach and you hear that like sound of liquid hitting linoleum like that. That was what alerted all of us that this man had peed himself, because he was peeing himself the whole time as everyone got onto the train.
He was pissing himself with such force that his clothes weren't absorbing it. It was hitting the plastic of the seat.
Okay, so think about it like this. Like, think about a woman like lying down in repose with her hand sort of up over her head.
I like this so far.
Like she's on a shade lounge.
Okay.
And she's got her arms sort of like underneath her head as she lies down.
Is she fat? Got to be fat if I'm involved.
Whatever you need to see.
All right.
I don't want to make it. I don't want to say fat because maybe the people at home want to imagine their own woman. Now imagine instead that's a man in a hoodie, and he's lying down in the same way where again his arm is extended, and he's again these are the New York subway cars. So his arm is sort of extended out to where one might walk in. So nobody's walking in right there because his arm's just kind of like hanging out off the seat. And he's lying facing the wall, and he's peeing himself. Now, the car, because there's a lot of physics here, the car is going the opposite direction of the way he is pointing with his hand. So force is going to push everything that direction as the car takes off. And now what it does is all of the urine has pooled, and the car takes off, and it slides up his sleeve and pours like he's Niagara Falls out of his sleeve.
Yeah,
like he's a little PT pot. And again, it's absorbed all through this like traveling up his shirt. So there's like a nice line. We can't see this yet. I only saw this after he'd stood up.
Yeah.
But like up and through his armpit, down his hand, and then it goes, and we just hear it. Like again, there's a noticeable amount of liquid coming out, and then it just trickles like a faucet stopping after a second. And we're all like, what the fuck was that?
Honestly, mad respect if he just stood up with his hand out and was like, all right, everybody give me $1. That was my trick. He's just busking.
For a second, you think it's vomit. You know what I mean? But until you like look over and you see it, the liquid dripping out of his hand. And I'm literally sitting there being like, holy shit. Like when it dawns on me, like that man peed up himself. That man just peed up himself. And then suddenly, as if to realize the immense amount of water, or not water, well, some of it was water, let's be honest, all over himself, he stands up in horror, just like shocked to life.
Not again.
Just like, I like from your worst dream that you woke up and like screamed. Like it was like that kind of like movement. Like he was, what's a great metaphor? Like a football player when they like would put you under like the wet mat, and if you could explode out from under that, like you knew you were like, it's like an old thing they did back in the...
Is this what they do to football players
They
in
tried doing it on
Guantanamo?
King of the Hill, too, where Hank Hill is, like, trying to get Bobby ready for football. He's like, now, Bobby, if you can explode from underneath this this wet carpet or some fucking thing like that, you'll be ready for blah, blah, like whatever. And Bobby obviously can't do it, so he's just sitting underneath this, like, wet thing.
It's just Hank and all his friends just pissing on Bobby.
Yeah. But, like, that expectation of, like, that explosion up, that's what this man did.
Okay.
Great. See, I brought it full circle.
This has been the most interesting lesson in physics I've ever had.
Yeah. But so this man just rises up and just, again, he just stares at us all like he's watching somebody get murdered in war for the first time and he can't quite handle it. Just a shock and terror. Like, am I supposed to point my gun too? And we're all looking back at him like, what are you going to do now?
He's just the guy in Saving Private Ryan who's like stumbling around looking for his arm.
Yeah.
It's just him looking for underwear that haven't been soiled.
It'd be like if the result of that had been for him to go, okay, and then look at the other side and realize the other side is drier, and then just to lie back down again and fall asleep like nothing had happened instantly. And all of us are just like, I really hope nobody sits down across from him. Hey, is this stickier than... Oh, it's piss!
Jesus.
And that was what it was like to ride on the New York subway.
That's age, baby.
I feel like I've described that story before, but there's some more detail.
You did, like back
when it happened.
Earlier episodes, yeah. Have we ever talked on any incarnation of the pod? Have we ever talked about the time we got cock blocked by the person that puked on the train?
I feel like we've talked about the puke on the train. I feel like we've talked about it.
Technically, we got cock blocked by our friend Claire.
Well, Claire's not a good person. Friend of the pod, Claire, who doesn't also listen to this.
Correct.
She's too busy living her life.
I don't know. Helping the Pope sneak little boys into the Vatican so he can
Is that
molest them.
What does she do?
She's like a special reporter for like NBC Italiano, Vatican correspondent.
Fancy.
Bunch of pictures of her on the plane with the Pope. I'm like, you don't know where those hands have been. You know what kind of young boys those have caressed? I'm not high in the Catholic Church. Sorry, guys.
Well, I think that's what a hot take at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, really? I remember we're just like, it was you and me.
Yep.
And we went out with Prim and Claire. Prim was my roommate. Claire was her friend. So it's just like hot Thai chick, hot Italian chick.
Yeah, just having fun.
You and me being like, we have
no chance.
We have no shot.
Yeah.
Which like takes all the stress off.
Hooray
of
for friendship! And you just get to go out.
But it's raising our stock with random other women who see us and are like, what do those attractive girls see
in these horse-like giants?
Yeah, in those fucking schlubs. I don't get it. And
maybe they have money. I'm painting these people that we used to hang out with such a terrible life.
I have a very positive view of women on this podcast. I've always said.
We're so woke. Go on.
This is a women-forward podcast. But so the four of us are sitting on one of those like little midsections of the one in Boston, those little like weird accordion.
Yeah, because they had those ones that were like there's a tall section and then you step down and there's more seats and then you step up in the back and there's more seats in the back.
So we're in the step down and these two girls are sitting across from us and the one girl, they're both wasted. One girl's just going a mile a minute talking about what, and then she said, blah, 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 blah. What do you think? And turns to her friend and right on cue, the friend just barfs up brain matter. It was like smoothie with chunks of like hamburger in it. It was pink. And you just like everyone in that middle section just disperses and runs up onto one of the platforms.
Yep, heads right to the back.
And that train, every time it took a turn where everyone's like, whoa, just like as this puke is sloshing around. The girl who did it is laughing her fucking tits off. It was pretty funny. But you and I got stuffed in the back with Prim, but Claire got stuck at the front.
So she's like sitting there dealing real time with puke.
She's just like,
why'd you make that decision?
Dangling over the precipice watching this puke lava. You and me and Prim stuffed in the back with these two girls. These two like pharma rep looking. It's like something out of a sitcom where it's like, ooh, a blonde and a brunette. I don't know, Rory. Which one are we going to choose? Gentleman's accord. It's very gentlemanly to talk about which woman you're going to go with. She gets no say in the matter.
Perhaps we should wait to see what they're into.
But like you and I were just like riffing on Prim, and these two girls were eavesdropping. We're like, ha, that's so funny. And we were just like, oh, okay, captive audience. We got a ball game here.
That was the funnest thing about Boston was I always felt comfortable having louder conversations than we ever did in New York. Where like you're in New York, there's like kind of like this. Everybody is coming from work and everybody's tired and nobody wants to deal with anybody's shit because there's so many people trying to panhandle or play music or tell you a story or get you to donate to something that you just want everybody to shut the fuck up and leave you alone.
Yeah.
And on Boston, I always felt like we could just sit there and bullshit. We used to make people laugh all the time. It was a lot of fun.
It's also like, New York was so touristy on the trains.
And
cynical.
Like,
Boston was kind of like the ham and eggers, and we were with them. So, these two girls were just having it. We're just openly bantering with them. And I'm trying to mentally ping you and be like, we should ask them to go get a drink. And no sooner does that happen than up at the front, you just watch this guy. And he just fucking yerks. You hear screams. Yeah. And then you look and another guy's like, oh God, when I see people puke,
puke chain!
Puke chain! And it's just pandemonium on the fucking green line. The next stop, fucking Claire gets out. Prim sees this and goes, come on, you guys, we gotta go.
Yep.
I'm like, you have a mouse in your pocket, bitch? We're busy.
Yep.
And she just grabbed us by the hand and drug us away, and we never saw those girls again.
It's always the way. And then we went and hung out with the two women who got hit on by a lot of creepy dudes.
Yep. A lot of dudes. And
like that dude in the silk shirt who comes with all of his other friends that are also wearing similar things that all hang out in the corner.
Liquid cotton. He told me. He's like, yeah, you like this shirt? It's liquid cotton. I was like, you should kill yourself.
Yeah. Cool. Can't quite hear you. I've never heard of that. I'll have to check out that company. Yeah. That's not what I said. Oh, sweet. So Prim, like, what are you into?
Yep.
The kind of people
getting
who are like,
fucked. Yeah. Oh, cool. Me too.
Yeah. Like we have so much in common.
Dude, the third night we lived together, she got her fucking back walls blown out by a member of the Swiss military.
Oh, jeez.
I
have no problem with like people living their lives, obviously.
No, not at all. Like I was like, I have a cool ass roommate.
She was a little. I remember there was one time when we decided to have ourselves a drink or two, and I ended up crashing on your couch because this was, Boston trains only went to like 11 or something stupid like that. Like, we're drinking till 2.
Yeah.
And I ended up falling asleep on your couch, and I remember not drinking any water. So like anytime I wake up from when I fell asleep to the next day, I'm going to be in hell of a lot of pain. And what happens, but Prim comes home at like 4:30 in the morning and proceeds to take a shower. Mm-hmm. But she can't just take a shower. She's got to put on music.
A little K-pop.
And so I just hear it down the hall.
Touch my body.
And she's just in there. So I'm just like, how is Conch not awake?
I know my room was right next to the shitter.
Everybody in that apartment should have like put a quash on that the first time it happened. So she's like, hey, Pram, so here's the thing. Don't come home at 5 in the morning and decide it's time to start playing loud music because you want to shower. And I was just like, I hate my life. I hate everything. It was also one of those times like I didn't bring anything with me because I wasn't sure I was going to stay. So I didn't bring a blanket or a pillow. So it's just me on a bear on a
that
bear
weird
couch.
wine-stained wooden couch
I'm
that
like,
we got on Craigslist.
just like shaking a little bit because I'm cold. I'm like, what am I doing here? What is my life? Surely after I turn 24, life will be better for you.
There must be
or
more
25
than
or however old I was. It's like, don't worry. By the time you're 30, you'll really have things figured out, Roy. This is just a bump.
Cut to you and you're like, I forgot how to use a can opener. I'm gonna starve.
Just me smashing cans on a rock.
Yeah, like a gull or an otter.
Please come in. I made food.
Hello. Yep. Oh, old Primmy. Yeah, and like after that night, I remember she and my other roommate and I all sat down, and I was like, Prim, I'm a pretty forward-thinking guy. I just wanted to let you know that we know that you had the Swiss chocolate pounded out of you the other night. We could hear it.
We heard all of it.
This is the Happiness Hotel. You guys remember the Muppets? Oh, there's no fire in the fireplace. That's where we lived.
You come from a somewhat well-off family. Perhaps you should buy a noise diffuser.
You know. Or might I suggest you allow the gentleman to smush your face into a pillow?
Some large fans. Perhaps you could set your bed adjacent to the living room wall.
You know. No, that's where it was Tamola. Katie and I were trying to watch TV. We're just chilling, watching like Chicago PD or something. We just hear like, oh yeah. We're like, oh boy. Yep. And then a picture fell off the wall, and we were like, God damn.
Guess it's a poster household.
Yeah.
Tape doesn't get rustled too hard by moving walls.
Guys that came there to have sex with her must have been like, oh, apparently I'm getting laid in Twin Peaks tonight, because it was always me in the kitchen talking to myself, dancing around, and then just like a picture of a cat in a sandwich was like my prized possession at the time, was that little like 90s deli poster of the smush-faced cat that had a piece of bread on its head. It was a little cat sandwich, and everyone was so weirded out by it. I don't get it. It was adorable.
Because they took it literally.
Because it was the only piece of art in the apartment.
Yeah, just the one thing. I mean, that's pretty great. It's like my old apartment in New York. We had nothing on the walls. It was all just white walls.
Yeah.
Because my roommate that I moved in with, it was really his apartment. He just like didn't put anything on the walls because he never went into the rooms. He went into his room and he went in there to like make food sometimes or shower. And then like he lived in the city, or he lived at his girlfriend's place. And so, like, I would bring a girl home, and she'd be like, this seems like a serial killer's apartment, which was literally what one of them said to me once. And I was like, well, this isn't going to happen. Yeah. She ended up deciding to leave.
Yeah, I can't in good conscience stick my hand down your pants now.
Yeah, there was no spark there anyways. It wasn't going to work out.
What a shame.
But I got to tell you, dating in New York and dating in Boston, I hated dating in Boston way more than dating in New York. And I met way more crazy people in New York, but I did not like dating in Boston more.
See, I'm the exact opposite. Dating
Really?
in New York sucked ass, and dating in Boston was frequently rewarding and very fun.
Well, yeah, for you.
I was a little more self-actualized, too.
I mean, I was getting there, and I was getting in shape. So the only thing that usually ended up making them not interested in me was when I was like, I work in a mailroom at a big old company. Like, oh, really? That's what you're like? Yeah. I try to start it, be like, I work logistics and stuff. And they're like, tell me more about that. But it's basically mail shit. Oh, and then, I set up conference rooms and do that kind of stuff. And they'd usually be like, I'm looking more for a lawyer or a doctor, and it's been wonderful meeting you. Like, great, super. And then off they would go. Mm-hmm. That happened. Actually, that was my big criticism about Boston, too, was that happened a lot on dates, too. They're like, what do you do? I'm like, well, I work at a big financial firm. Like, oh, really? What do you do there? I set up conference rooms, and I do the mail.
Dried right up.
Yeah. But I have a good 401k. Where are you going? Please. Well, I just, and my sister lived there with her now husband, and every now and then they'd be like, we're going out to bar. You want to go? And I'd be like, sure. And the kind of bars that they went to were not the kind of bars that I would go to. Because I'd go to the kind of bars where, like, you would sit at a bar and drink and be alone. And every now and then, one time, there'd be some obnoxious, mouthy person there that you would get into either an argument with or a fun conversation. And then you'd go home. And, like, these were dancing clubs, kind of. And I'd go there and I'd be like, I don't want to do any of this. And it would be the kind of thing where like the bartender or like the bouncer almost wouldn't let me into the place based on what I was wearing. But I was with my sister and Jesse who clean up well.
Yep.
So they'd be like, yeah, go on in. Nothing's going to happen anyways from you or for you. You'll be out of here in 15. Like they always would look and I'd walk out of there like 20 minutes later, like, take it easy, man.
Buddy, against my better judgment, I'm going to let you in here. But I swear to God, if you kill yourself in the bathroom, Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
we're going to have problems.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you've ever walked by a place and knew you wouldn't get in because of the shoes you were wearing. Like, I've been told, trying to get into a place before, that I could not go in there because I was not wearing the right shoes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was briefly dating this super rich, super bougie chick in Boston.
Yeah.
And like, I was wearing a blazer, but I was wearing fucking tennis shoes with jeans. It was like tennis shoes, jeans, t-shirt tucked in with a blazer. And I'm like, I thought that was an acceptable summer look in Boston for wherever we were going. Apparently not.
Yeah.
I left my good ascot at home.
Yeah, you didn't have the jacket to go with it.
Yep.
And they wanted you to have a jacket.
She tried to pay the guy off, and I'm like, don't fucking justify it.
Someone once did that for me, and you were there. And we were in Texas when we were living out there, and I won't mention names, but it was Jeff. Jeff did it. It was you, Jeff. Why did you do it? I hate you for it. And we went to a bar. And we went to a club in downtown Austin in this like area where there's all these other bars to choose from. And so many of them screamed like, come hang out here and just get a cool drink with the people you're with.
We've got a Galaga machine.
And like you can hang out and it's not so loud that you can't hear each other. And like there's games to play. It's a fun time. But we had to go to the dancing club because the girls we were with wanted to dance. And drunk Jeff likes dancing because you're an ass. And you like dancing too. That's fine. There's no problem with that. But so we pick like the club that everybody's at. And we walk there and the guy looks at me and goes, you can't get in. You can't come in, man. And I'm just like, that's cool, man. I didn't even want to come in here. And Jeff's like, how much, man? How much? And the dude's like, 30 or $20 or whatever it is. And Jeff hands him the money. I'm like, Jeff, fuck off. I'm going to
leave in 5 minutes.
I want to go hang out with the homeless guy playing guitar across the street. What are you doing? And everybody goes in and he had no problem with what everybody else was. But for some reason, I can't get into this fucking place. And you know what? I was probably wearing just a bunch of bullshit anyways. Like didn't give a fuck. And,
you wore a white t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah. And we get upstairs and it's just this loud fucking club, 80% dudes dancing around like 30% women, and Jeff and them immediately run off to the dance floor, and I get a beer, and I just sit there at the railing, because it's like one of those like second story dance kind of club things, and I just sit there looking out going, the homeless man seems like he's drawing a crowd playing the guitar.
Is that Alex Jones drunk eating chili fries?
It's just random people like, just sitting. But like there's all these other bars around with all these like, again, weird games. Like that one with like the little disc on a rope that you throw. And all these fun little, I was like, I'd love to try that. Or like go meet some people or play giant Jenga or whatever the fuck's going on. And here we are in the dance club.
That again was a product of the company we were keeping.
I'm just mostly disappointed that he wasted $20 on me. I would have taken that $20 and bought so much Wendy's, which was there, which we did later, and I believe there was like a ruckus going on there. I might have been there for the ruckus.
Yeah,
with my $20 bill. You know what kind of shit you could cause at a Wendy's with $20?
You could have gotten stabbed in a Wendy's.
I know. See, this is why I'm disappointed by the night. I really, I don't like those kind of places.
Yeah, we were also stuck in traffic for like 3 hours because of Adele.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, God, it's okay. I didn't like any of the friends Jeff made, anyways, out there. Do you hear me, friends of Jeff?
Now,
I bet he's got better friends now, but at the time, no.
Well, they sure were cute.
Yeah, they were.
I'm talking about the boys.
That's
too.
why
Brian Wilde hit me up, buddy.
Yeah, no, he was fine. Brian was fine.
He was wild, all right. Wild in the sack.
I just remember we had that party at our house one time, and everybody came over, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Like people are showing themselves to my room, and I'm like, hey, you're still wearing your shoes. And apparently that was rude of me to say because I called someone out for it. I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. You can go ahead and just come up and sit down in my room. It's fine. Nice shoes. Yeah, it's totally cool. Thanks for asking. Who's a friend of Jeff's? Oh, really? I guess we'll be friends now.
See, I don't remember that party because I pretty immediately, because I was kind of sweet on one of Jeff's friends.
Who vomited on the backyard, I believe.
Did she?
Oh, yes.
We talk about the same one?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
She took too many of the Jell-O shots she brought, which
classic.
got into the carpet.
I sure know how to pick them.
And then she vomited out back. One of 2 or 3 people who vomited out back. All of whom drove away at the end of the night.
That was my favorite thing about Texas.
I hope
you've
got better friends now, Jeff.
Texas, the national sport of Texas, drunk driving.
I couldn't.
Because they took away Uber.
I couldn't fucking believe it. There was not a sober eye in that house.
No. We apparently
One guy
played
stayed.
music for them I don't remember doing it because I just drank a bottle of vodka because I'm like, oh my God, Kendall's going to be here.
We played music and we let other people play music. We let other people play our instruments.
I forget.
I very vaguely remember.
I just remember waking up and Waskow was sleeping on our couch. Good old Waskow.
Yeah, okay. He was one of the good ones, too. There's like...
He's a funny bastard.
Jeff, you've got like a 3 out of 10 for friends.
Jeff's going to be like, yeah, I didn't tell you guys. Waskow is a serial rapist. And it's probably good you guys left when you did.
He got hit in a drunk driving incident where he was the driver. Well, goddamn.
Yeah.
What happened?
Waskow, prolific serial torturer.
Yeah. He was just sizing us up. It's because we were nice to him the night before that he decided not to murder all of us, it turns out.
It's like a snake. When a snake sleeps, like that old urban legend of like the guy that was sleeping with his pet snake and it would be coiled up on his pillow.
And then it lays out flat.
It all of a sudden starts laying out flat next to him. He's like, that's weird. And he tells an expert and they're like, it's trying to see if it's big enough to eat you.
Yeah, it's sizing you up.
That's Waskow. He just gets into bed with you, Rory. And he's like, not
yet. Yeah. You're so warm.
Working on getting taller. I'm going to envelop you someday.
I can only kill people who are as tall as.
I've got a palate expander for my knees.
The 5'8" killer strikes again.
Oh, fuck.
Are you sure you want this surgery on your shins to make you 6'3"? I need it.
Just do it. I can't eat this guy until I'm the same height as him. What don't you get about that?
Okay, but you have the $400,000, right? I do. Okay, perfect. Come on.
My insurance will pay for this.
Yep. But yeah, all that is to say, Jeff, start acting right.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever want you to pay a bouncer for me to get into a club I don't want to get into ever again.
Jeff, you better straighten up and fly right, or I'll tell you what's going to happen.
Just pay me the money, Jeff. I'm unemployed. Just give me the money. I need the money. I was unemployed then.
Well, please.
What kind of friend are you? A lot of hits of Jeff.
Yeah, pretty much. He's probably the only one that still listens to this podcast.
Yeah. Or people who know him. And people who don't know him, don't worry about it. He's a fuck. Yeah, taking more swings.
He's beautiful, though.
But listen to their other podcast.
Listen to Out on That Line music podcast. If you don't, I'm going to get you.
That's where you know Jeff from.
Yeah.
I'm sure we have so much crossover between our listeners.
Oh, yeah. This podcast network we've built. Yeah. They don't give a fuck. No one listens anymore. Yeah. I don't care. This is just for us at this point.
I found out most of the people who listen to my the progressive podcast I do are people who are directed from Facebook. And I'm like, that's not our crew. That's not our crew at all.
QAnon people.
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be great.
I'm the leprechaun.
Oh, waiting for that this Wednesday. It's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a fun week. It's gonna be a scary week. With the inauguration on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? It's when this podcast comes out.
Yeah,
everyone will be listening to this on a light Wednesday.
Yeah, while our new president is digitally sworn in, while hundreds of obese, horned children of thalidomide
I feel
protest.
Like they're still doing it at the mall, right? They're just closing it all down.
I think so. And there's like soldiers camping at the Capitol and shit.
Yeah. You have to be really, really dumb to do something now, but I bet you.
You'd have to be really, really dumb. You'd have to be a Trump supporter.
Well, the FBI is going at them right now, too. And it's funny because the only thing that most of their lawyers can do is request that Trump pardons them. Because they're so fucking guilty.
But he also came out and he was excited about the protesters, and then an insider was like, yeah. And then he got a look at them, and he was very disappointed at how low class they all are.
Oh, it's just so ridiculous.
What did you think this was going to be? Bikini, the Hawaiian tropic bus was going to empty out, and they were going to be like, stop the steal.
Yeah. We're going to be super nice, even though for the past 3 months you've been riling these people the fuck up. Who do you think is going to show up? The rational people? Or the people who take everything you say as being a deep state, you're giving them secret communiques with what you're saying. See, when he says stand by and stand down and stand by, what he really means is this. And they've got there's fucking 800 different theories for that, but all of those people show up.
But he wanted that kind of behavior. He just wanted them to be hot. He was disappointed that they weren't all wearing Hugo Boss suits and have giant tits.
Oh yeah, the Trump supporters aren't a bunch of attractive socialites. That it's all the troll people.
Yeah,
what a shock! What a shock!
I'm you know what pretty people do? Pretty people don't protest. Yeah. They don't care. That's why you never see me at a protest. I'm too attractive.
Yeah, great.
You know what this country really needs right now, Rory?
What's that?
Another fappening.
More tasteful nudes.
But this time for the ladies. You know what I'm saying?
Or we're just saying you just go hang dong on the internet.
I'm saying you and me should leak our nudes. We should be the first celebs to leak our nudes.
Well, that's got to be Rory. He is so pale. Look how pale that guy is. 100%. And then you get women who are out there just thirsty bitches finding pictures of me and like trying to match up the skin tones. Oh, yeah. There's this picture.
Him.
Here's this picture of they're all out at the boat during the summer, and here's a picture of his right arm, and look at that mole he's got right there next to his elbow. Here it is next to his dong.
It looks precancerous. Oh, my God. Look at him. He's eating Burger King in this picture, and then look at that mayonnaise on his dick in this one.
And I'll just be like, I like the attention, honestly. My penis hasn't gotten attention from women since I don't even remember when.
The fucking Roosevelt administration.
Yeah. When did the Challenger explode?
Yeah.
89? It was 89. It was a good year for baby Rory.
Let me tell you, that baby got laid.
I got laid like crazy. Before all that stuff went away where you couldn't do that.
That would be an amazing Adult Swim show. Just a baby that gets mad laid.
Baby Bachelor.
Just a baby that goes to college, yeah.
Oh, Baby Bachelor, you're the coolest. Just tantrum.
Baby Bachelor's doing a keg stand.
Look at him. He's doing that keg stand while he eats that Gerber's.
Just doing a milk keg stand. You're
Chug.
fucking wild, Baby Bachelor.
I like hanging out with Baby Bachelor, but it sucks having to change his diaper all the time.
we do the same thing for Chugs.
Quit eating all that kale, Baby Bachelor.
You got to eat something that hasn't been pureed. It just
Jesus.
shoots through you.
You're not really solid today, Baby Bachelor.
What's wrong, Baby Bachelor? You seem colicky. Yep. That's the kind of golden content we're coming out with here.
What else are we going to get, man, you know?
I thought about it a lot, and, like, I don't know if people remember. I posted him on my Instagram the other day. Buford Butterfield.
Oh, yeah. What about your old character, Buford? I
want to bring Buford back.
I mean, we got to just start stealing it. We got to look at the legalities of stealing, like 60 Minutes interview clips. And
Stop the steal.
Throwing it together. You know what I'm saying, though? Mm-hmm. Whatever the legality of that is, because we can get you, whoever's been on any hard-hitting whatever, like we can get you on there. The hard thing is going to be creating the room that you're in.
I mean, you can try your best with blue screen, but I also think it would just be funny if he was like, because here's the thing, old Buford was ostensibly just like doing the local news, right?
Yeah.
But I think I want to pivot him into like an Alex Jones type, and he's doing his own like InfoWars type thing. I think that would be very funny. So you could just have him like remote interviewing everyone from his desk.
It'll be funny depending on how this week goes.
I guess. If it's like thousands dead, and I'm like, you know what'll fix this?
Yeah.
Just me putting on a fat suit, pretending to interview AOC.
Yep. I think it's such a weird thing for where I look at like political humor these days. I just sit there and I'm like, we're so on the edge of things just being so horrible. I just sit there and be like, people just don't want to fucking hear it because it's like all we get hammered with is just how much everything sucks. The world's getting worse.
If you're doing political humor and like if you're doing political satire and you're not great at it, if you're not like Armando Iannucci and you're not fantastic at doing political satire, you're making garbage. So why don't you just make politically themed shit that is dumb but funny, which is what I want to do with Buford. Like, again, chop and screw a fucking interview with Hillary Clinton where I'm like, so how many people have you killed? And she's like, over 1 million people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally out of context. Which is what we did with the original Buford.
We got to be careful, though. So those maggots will pick that shit up and be like, look at this interview that Clinton did. Here's the truth of the deep state. And they'll foam at the mouth.
Yeah, and then we make a ton of money off of it.
That's true.
Set up a Patreon for Buford Butterfield.
And then Hillary Clinton
stupid to realize
us.
I'm not making fun of him. She ain't going to sue. She's going to kill us.
Yeah, that's true.
I would be honored.
Been a car accident.
I missed my chance to be in the 27 Club. I would be honored to make the Clinton kill list.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful dream.
Really?
It's better than the Epstein list.
Well, that flight log, yeah.
Yeah,
I successfully avoided that.
Cinched up.
Yep. I avoided that like Seth MacFarlane avoided being on the plane in 9/11.
Yep.
Good for me.
A lot of people were supposed to be in that building, too, from what I hear. And you got all those celebrities running away. But you know who didn't? Steve Buscemi. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he used to be a firefighter. And when he was around, he went and helped.
He was the first guy in the building.
Don't be Mark Wahlberg. Be Steve Buscemi.
In a world full of Mark Wahlbergs, be a Buscemi.
Isn't it so funny that you look at those two guys and you're like, wow, Steve Buscemi's a great fucking dude, and then you've got this like chiseled Adonis fucking Mark Wahlberg, who's just a piece of shit.
Oh, it's almost like when you're attractive, people will give you anything you want, and
doesn't
you
matter
don't
what
have
kind
to
of
develop a personality or work for anything.
Isn't that weird?
It's so funny.
Isn't that weird? I don't think my voice
But when
is
your
getting hard
eyes are bugging out of your head like a sick hamster, you have to
yeah.
develop a personal code and make people happy.
That'd be a cool fucking dude. And I bet he gets laid like fucking Luis Guzman, who's also kind of a weird looking dude.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've seen Luis Guzman on Shameless where he's playing like a dirtbag.
Yeah.
Where it's just him in his underwear, and I'm like, oh man.
Uh-huh.
Not to fat shame a beloved character actor, but I really didn't need to see this.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
Yep.
Sometimes you just get hit full in the face when you are a big fan of comedy.
I wish I could say he was smuggling plums, but it looks like he's smuggling one plum, one nectarine, and something that's not fruit. It's a mess. It's a mess down there, Louise. I'm sorry. You know it. I know it.
He's never coming on the show now.
Hey, why you guys make fun of me on the show? I wish we were going to come on the Skimbo. That's not a good impression of Luis Guzman.
No, that was pretty terrible.
I tried. Mama tried.
You did. You're not. Don't cut that out.
Hey, man.
No. Nope.
It's me, Luis Guzman.
What kind of mental deficiency do you think Luis Guzman has? I just think it's funny. The way that happens. Mark Wahlberg gets away with being a total shit because women want to sleep with him.
Yeah.
But I guess there's the same. I mean, who's an awful fucking woman that I would ignore just if she gave me the option to sleep with her? Just an irreparable piece of crap in the celebrity world, but you're like, damn. Like, it'd be like if you learned that Margot Robbie was just an absolute piece of crap. Mm-hmm. And you got the chance one night, and you're just like, as long as I say everything she wants to hear, I'll get to sleep with Margot Robbie. Mm-hmm. I feel like I probably would. And that makes me sad.
Well, everyone wants to be like,
hate myself a little bit.
I'm the guy that would like I would honey dick Margot Robbie into thinking that she could have me, and then I'd be the one to teach her a lesson by being like, nuh-uh, because you're mean.
No,
no way.
I just know that, like, I'm sure it wouldn't be as fun sleeping with her if she was a piece of crap. Rather, like, because sleeping with somebody who's like a nice person is just better. It's just more fun.
Sure.
You like them better. Than when not that I've ever slept with someone I hated because they were attractive.
Well, I've never slept with a nice person, so
Yeah, see, there you go. We'll see. So it's like we're on different sides of things here. But I feel like there's that line. But I don't know. Is that Mark Wahlberg for women? Is that why he's famous? Is that why he keeps getting roles?
Women are so impossible to predict. There are women that are like.
It's almost like they're different. It's almost like different women are different, like men are different. But I don't think so.
I don't think so. They're like a hive mind.
Yeah. They're just saying, "Oh, you're crazy, Alex." He knows. He's just broadcast out to the network.
But I mean, like, you've got these women who are like, "Oh, it's really gross when men talk about how attractive they find Margot Robbie. But I would let Timothy Chalamet clap my little pussy cheeks." And
that's oddly specific.
He's like 17. I don't think you can say that.
Yep. No, I get what you're saying. It's weird.
Saying women are trash.
Yeah. Just have a better. Stop being so. What's the word? What's the opposite of misogynistic?
Misandry.
Yeah, misandristic.
Misandrist.
Well, I don't want to like how you can be misogynistic. Can you be misandristic? See how this doesn't quite roll off the tongue. Quit being pieces of shit.
Yeah, you guys even made a word we can't pronounce to insult you when you're Me Tooing us.
You shallow bitches. And why do you use feminism when egalitarianism already existed?
And for the record, I exclude women of color from this. White women, you are still in my crosshairs in 2021.
Get it together. Get it together.
Figure your shit out.
Why are we arguing semantics? It's 2021.
God damn you all. I wish I believed in God so I could invoke him to damn you. Because you've earned it. Because you're white women.
Yeah.
So until next time.
Like us. Subscribe.
Please like and subscribe.
Yeah. Well, it's always, I would one day love to see if there's a way to break down the demographic. Wow, mostly women listen to this podcast.
I think that's what it is. Again, when I went on a, shall we say, alleged arsonist's podcast.
That's awesome.
That guy was like, "You want to be on my podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, totally." And then I looked him up and I'm like, "Oh, he may have been an accessory to burning down a brewery. This is interesting. I hope the FBI doesn't come calling me."
I particularly want to talk to this guy now, like that is a selling point.
Well, and then like
We
completely,
don't have to hang out in the same room, right?
completely inadvertently at the end of the conversation, I made some analogy about like setting things on fire.
Oh, Freudian slip.
Well, I think once again I used the analogy of a woman injuring herself. I'm like, it's like a woman who's wearing an infinity scarf and she's drunk and she's talking with her hands and she knocks over a candle and it lights the scarf on fire and now she's got third-degree burns. She feels like shit about herself. She puts on like 30 pounds. She decides like, I've been burned. I'm going to burn things down too. And next thing you know, Planned Parenthood up in flames. It's a tale as old as time. It's just like, oh, wait, you just riffed all of that on an arsonist.
Yep.
All right, then.
Yeah, well, it's done. It's in the can.
Alleged arsonist. I don't know if he listens to these. If you do, hey, buddy, I'm not judging you. We had a fun conversation.
No, that sounds fascinating. In fact, I'd talk about that more on my podcast.
I wanted to. He kept alluding to, like, I had a difficult year, and I wanted to be like, yeah, you got accused of burning a brewery to the ground.
Yeah.
A historic brewery.
Oof.
Tell me more.
Like, I like cigarettes and... All right, this has been a great episode.
Sometimes when you lose control of your own body, you need to exercise control.
Sometimes the demons come out. Like, awesome.
I'm with you so far. Uh-huh.
Dude, that's the kind of podcast that can hit 100,000 views, though. You really lean into that skid.
I mean...
Especially if you're innocent, like, just go with it. Because then people will think you're like OJ. If OJ started a podcast, people would listen to that podcast. Does OJ have a podcast?
Why hasn't he? Yeah, it's a great question. I don't think so.
Call it If I Did It, and in the title you put If and I Did It in different colors, like your book.
Yep.
Because that's not crazy.
If I did it, this is how I would have did it.
A flex that is. Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying, if someone hasn't started a podcast with OJ right now, that's just out there. That idea is now out there. You and me ought to see if O.J. Simpson wants to be a third mic on the Skimbo Lounge.
Let's just try to get away with murder, and then more people will listen to us because of the notoriety.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. We could do like a Slender Man thing and like try to stab each other.
We could take so many different roads. Yeah. Yeah. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, please.
Where are we at? It's a pretty good. It's a pretty good point.
You're not even listening to this, are you?
We've probably got a solid 50 minutes of content there. Yeah, people love that.
Yep. We really nailed this one. Really knocked it out of the park.
So proud. Hey, why don't you guys start submitting our podcast to Barstool for us?
Yeah.
These guys are so funny. They're like podcasters. I didn't say our audience was smart or eloquent.
Or have particularly good taste. They do listen to us.
Yeah.
But no, Barstool's doing this thing, the Barstool Fund, where they're trying to, like, as much as I don't like Barstool, they are trying to, like, bail out small businesses.
Yeah.
And the cynical part of me is like, yeah, it's a PR move. But then I'm like, whatever. Just give them the benefit of the doubt. They're doing a good thing. Do I need to motherfuck it?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, so I don't know how much people are getting. I do know the local gin mill, Gusto's, has submitted to it.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, I mean, share that around, guys. Help Gusto's out. If you're in the area, get one of those cocktails to go.
Are they open right now?
I think they're doing food and cocktails to go.
Huh.
They were at one point, I hope.
I forgot that they had a grill there.
I legitimately would hate to see Gusto's close. I don't drink anymore.
Well, it's a staple. It's a community staple.
It's a staple of the community. We've got a lot of great memories there.
Sure.
It would really suck.
The only way the only way I'd be okay with it failing is if it stayed there forever as like a monument, and like my 40-year-old self can break in there with a bottle of Dr. McGillicuddy's menthol mint schnapps and like sit in the back, be like, I used to play horseshoes back here, before like a raccoon bites me and gives me rabies.
You know a story about Jack and Diane? You're just dancing with the raccoon.
I had to do the karaoke here with people.
Oh yeah, life goes on. It's just pissing on you out of fear.
Live is gone.
And then that suspected arsonist I was podcasting with shows up and is like, oh,
this is a lot of dry wood.
I didn't think anyone was going to be here.
Just burn it down, man. Just burn me down with my memories.
Cool, man.
Yeah. I feel like the community would never let that place close. It might change ownership hands, or like it might close down for a while, or some like really. And again, I don't want that to happen either. But
no, we're
I don't think it'll close down.
Tangentially buds with the guy who owns it now, Dickie.
Sure.
I can't be like, he's one of my best friends. I don't really know him that well. But
I got a problem with the guy. He's fine.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew him. He was in my grade in high school.
Yeah. And he's cousins with our buddy Dante, and we're like peripherally involved. So like it would suck to see him lose, and I've never seen him as vulnerable as he was in the Barstool video. He was getting choked up. in a rare moment of compassion, I'm not being like, what a fucking idiot for crying. Like,
well, he's one of those unlucky people. He's one of those unlucky business owners who
slammed him.
Who took a hold of a business right at the before COVID hit. So he got a little bit of that success. Be like, next year's probably going to be a good year, and then COVID fucking comes through and just decimates any fucking earning that he had.
Yep. I mean, Gusto's was a sure thing.
Yes.
The stalwarts
it was
will
just
never leave.
And again, he's, from what I know of him, and I'm not trying to put all of his fucking info out there, but I know he's managed other businesses before.
Yeah.
So like it was going to be his, like it would have been his to fuck up. And to his credit, he didn't. I mean, because I remember going there before I left for New York, and it was packed. It was a packed place.
Yeah, and he did like necessary repairs and sprucings, various and sundry sprucings.
Yeah, put his money into it.
Yeah, no, he gives a shit about it.
He made that house a home, and now they're trying to take his home away.
He let me sleep in the kitchen when I needed it
on
most.
the grill. He didn't even. He gave me 30 seconds before he turned it on.
He let me boil my underwear in the fryolator for sanitary reasons.
And then he wasn't freaked out when I later ate that underwear.
He never once judged me.
That's what I get for bread and frying my own underwear.
Gave him the idea for the bloomin' onion.
Don't eat the bloomin' onion.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a weird world, man.
It just sucks. It really sucks.
Well,
I understand why we have to be smart and certain things are locked down, but at the same time, it's just killing people.
Yeah. Well, it'll be fascinating to see how it all kind of comes around because COVID's going to get worse by March because that UK strain's going to be over here. People could be listening to this as riots happen in the country on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting because either they're gonna ramp this shit up because some of those people had pretty bad intentions at the Capitol building. Those people with like the zip cuffs.
Yeah. One of them killed a cop. He brained him with a fire extinguisher.
Yep. So those people could either rally and come out in force, or the Trump supporters could show that they're a big old bunch of pussies and they can all stay home and actually let the democratic process continue the fuck on. But it's going to be one or the other. It's going to be pretty binary. I'll be fine if there's a bunch of people there sitting around like bitching and moaning with signs. I don't give a shit about that. Do what you want. I feel like the thing that probably ended up breaking up me and this girl that I dated in Boston, what a tie back to early in the episode, was the fact that I told her that I didn't believe in the modern efficacy of protesting in a lot of ways because I felt like that doing things in an established way oftentimes doesn't lead to actual change because you're doing it in the way that the system is providing you. So why would they have any impetus to change? And you see a little bit of that with the BLM movement, but then you also see them taking it to that step where it is causing this sort of civil unrest. But then you're seeing the right alternatively take their twist on that, and that involved literal insurrection. So I think it took it too far, alt-right. I think you guys should have found that happy medium where you guys are like, we're pissed off, and then there's some offshoots that burn down an Arby's, and you can say well, that's not part of
You're
us.
only hurting yourselves. Yeah.
But that doesn't represent us. But when you guys all show up and the result is that you guys attack the Capitol building, you can't really say those guys aren't you.
Dude, and the other thing is
that's the problem.
BLM was protesting a woman being shot in her bed under false
and police
pretenses.
Violence from the previous year.
Yeah, and the Trump people broke into the Capitol to leave upper deckers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And steal Pelosi's mail and
you
shit.
Don't stop the steal. You don't exactly have the moral high ground, friends.
Well,
sorry.
Well, it's also kind of hard comparing like to like in that scenario because you got on the one hand, they're like, well, look at all the rioting that happened there. I go, okay, so let me put it to you this way, Trumpers. And this is the argument that I want an answer to if anyone out there ever feels like talking about it. Why is it that when there's rioting and looting that happens adjacent to the BLM protests, that's Antifa and that's BLM?
Uh-huh.
But when the Trump supporters have people who break into the Capitol building, kill people, and try to, in certain situations, kidnap senators and end up sitting in their office and shit, somehow that is not representative of the rest of the Trump support.
That's also Antifa.
Yeah,
didn't you know?
That's also Antifa. And you sit there and you go, come on.
I'm like, look, I
Come
never
the fuck
advocate a government turning on its own people and murdering its own citizens. But we would be well within our rights to just gas these people and be done with it.
Why is it that when BLM shows up at D.C. for their protest, all those National Guardsmen are in place?
Spraying them with pepper spray.
And look at what's happening now.
People lost eyes to fucking non-lethal rounds.
Oh, yeah. Well, and people are always, look at the number of people who died or were injured during the BLM protest. And I go, yeah, mostly the civilians.
Yeah, the government, the fucking cops.
You want to talk about the number of police who were injured? Look at what happened. you're going to argue like, well, autonomous zones. I'm like, just shut the fuck up.
Fuck off.
Can you just shut the fuck up for a second and just look at what you're trying to argue? Like, this is the thing. And it's like, I'll end up, if you listen to my political podcast, there's going to be some fucking overlap here.
It's a little taste.
But it's the controlling of the narrative. It's this conscious controlling of the narrative that the right does that bugs the shit out of me, because they're really fucking good at it. Everybody's mad at the right, so they're going to go ahead and they're going to spin it so that everybody's talking about the left. It's not that the Trump cabal, whatever you want to fucking call it, just engendered a fucking insurrection. It's that the Democrats are hypocrites because they weren't mad at what happened with BLM. We can't talk about what just happened on the 6th because we're too busy calling Democrats hypocrites, and the Democrats, being so fucking afraid of the chink in the armor of their moral character, feel the need to have to defend themselves against that attack. So now it's become that the Democrats are on the defense again and the Republicans are on the attack again.
Well, what's so funny,
the narrative.
The irony there is that the right loves to be like, we're the victims. Yeah. We can't buy guns. We can't say whatever we want. If I want to call my neighbor a racist epithet, that should be between me and him.
Well, and the fucking free market is a great fucking thing until it fights against the things that you like. This is a funny thing I would love to talk about is Parler. Parler got fucked. And I don't know about anybody out there who followed this news, but it's actually really fucking interesting, right? Parler's that alt-right Twitterverse that they created the site because nobody's going to get banned and it's a real place of freedom of speech. But what happened was this company that handled their security and their login information.
Yeah. Asked for social security numbers that were then stolen.
Yeah. Dude, it gets worse than that. That security company went ahead and said, we're going to drop you as a client, Parler, because of everything that happened in the Capitol. We do not think this is good for our company's image, so we are no longer going to handle the security on Parler. So what happened? What that meant was that there was no email verification for Parler users. So all you had to do was go on to Parler and go, I forgot my password, and you could set it right then and there. So what happened was hackers figured out that they could get access to admin-level Parler accounts. And from then, it turns out, because of how shittily Parler was set up, those admin accounts could create other admin accounts. So somebody set up a bot and made millions of Parler administration accounts and began doing an image of the entire website. And what that means is they took photos and logged every single comment and message from every single user and all of their information and logged it into a massive, massive file. Okay? So that's the one thing that happened. But also the thing that Parler didn't tell all of its users was that the metadata was saving their locations. So when you were an idiot who stormed the Capitol building and broadcast to your Parler, it had your GPS location, so you have absolutely no sense of deniability for not being there during the fucking insurrection. And on top of that, the people who hacked this passed all of that information off to the FBI. And what's the fucking cherry on top is so many of those Parler users were really afraid of this and started deleting all their messages and all of their posts. But Parler doesn't actually delete that stuff from the database.
No, the damage is done.
So all of that got saved anyways. Every horrible thing that every Parler user thought that was too bad for Parler, so they have to delete it, was still on the servers and was still sent to the FBI.
Well, and here's the thing.
I love it.
I hate a Trumper, but I also hate a rat. So part of me is like,
Dude, I get that.
Smoking these people out and turning them into the FBI. Like, if you were at the insurrection at the Capitol, sure. Mm-hmm. But just like garden variety trying to fuck with these dumb fucks and steal all their information, I'm like, you know what? You're kind of playing into this narrative they've created where they are the victims.
Well, no, here's the thing, though, man. The gloves, I agree with you in most cases, but in my opinion, when it comes to these fucking people, the gloves are off. And I'll tell you why the gloves are off. It's because I'm sick of hearing them call other people fucking fascists when fascism is what they're endorsing this whole fucking time.
They tried to do Kristallnacht.
Yeah, they literally did by definition, the things they do are fascist. They are fascist in nature, especially because after the 6th, there is that literal force. Like, they believe in hard right ultra-nationalist beliefs. That's the first checkpoint of fascism, and they're looking at the Democrats because, like, look, you guys aren't getting in front of Twitter. Twitter's becoming fascist. Twitter can't be fascist, you fucking moron. It's not a state program.
It's a publisher or it's a platform.
Yeah.
You have to decide.
Yeah, and you know what's great about it, though, is like you can sit there and say, well, look, they're a publicly funded company, right? They are a company, so they can set their own rules that you agree to when you decide to join. If you don't like that, you can quit Twitter, but you can't get mad at them for deplatforming people and call it fascism. That makes you look like a fucking idiot. You don't understand what fascism is at that point. And that is half of the argument right now, is we've got to stand up to these huge, big tech corporations. I sit there and go, you guys were free market all the last 4 years. So all of a sudden now, because these guys are pissing you guys off.
Well, it's the same thing. They were pro-cop. They were the thin blue line this whole time.
Not
but
so much anymore.
When you stand between them and kidnapping Nancy Pelosi, you're the enemy.
Yeah. No, it's not. Those are Antifa cops.
Oh, right. You're right. Antifa infiltrated the Capitol Police.
It's also super hilarious to see hard right people yell, fuck Antifa, but then also tell the other side they're fascists.
Yep. Yeah. It's pretty great.
It's fucking awesome.
Honestly.
It's my favorite. And if any of this is lost on you guys, like, just look into it. Like, it's just, again, when
sorry this wasn't a super funny episode. We could talk about, like, you ever look at your dick and, like, look at your dick lips and make them sing little songs from Little Shop of Horrors?
The last 20 minutes have been a little depressing, but this was great. This was fine.
Yeah.
You know, this is just a little extra talk at the end.
Again, no one's listening.
No, it's fine. I'd like to think that we I needed to get all that off my chest anyways.
Yeah, Rory's going to say the N-word 5 times now.
Yeah, ready, everybody?
Boo!
End the show. But yeah, so that's what's going on. I'll be really interested when this episode airs to see what's going on, because everybody's sitting there living with it. They're going, this is really interesting because of what's happening today. Or they're sitting there going, no, all the Trumpers stayed at home, so none of this is particularly poignant.
Yeah. Hard to know. Hard to know, man.
It's going to be a crazy
There's
week.
Apparently, the FBI is monitoring chatter. So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
We'll see. I mean, these people are fucking stupid, so whatever they're planning won't take anyone by surprise.
Yeah.
They'll just have to go with sheer force.
I just worry about all those militia groups that have been thinking about this shit for a long time.
Yeah, but like we said, they're like too fat for their tactical vests.
Yeah. Well, they're the Walmart elite.
Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they'll succeed. I think it just sets a really fucking scary precedent for
the watchers on the Walmart.
Trying to protect the realm.
Joke's on you. I'm half blind from diabetes. I don't watch shit.
I bought this Jon Snow sword replica online, and I shall use it to take our freedoms back. Pap, pap, pap.
I liked him because he had sex with women that didn't have citizenship. And that's pretty cool.
Then he banged his aunt. It was kind of
Hey, me too. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, it all comes full circle.
It does.
So we'll see. It'll be an interesting week.
We will see. Do you have anything you want to plug in the interim?
Nope.
Yep, me either. So until next time.
Fuck it.
Thank you. Go fuck yourselves. And goodbye.